Hi, I'm Jennifer Glass with Core Movement, and I'm here today with Yoga Lifestyles. And the team behind Yoga Lifestyles, initially we partnered up. I had a conversation with Steve Howe. His energy and entrepreneurial spirit and the direction he was taking things extremely excited me, because it felt very much in synergy with where we're trying to take things with Core Movement. So he really likes to find his edge and move past it. And that's a lot of terminology we use in yoga. And working with Melody on his team, we were talking about a lot of things tying yoga and business together. And today we're gonna just talk with you a bit about the business of yoga, if you will. So we're gonna take you through 5 things to really focus on as a yoga instructor. So 5 key things that we feel are beyond blocking and tackling, really that are essential to differentiate yourself and stay relevant in the market that's becoming ever so saturated, which is incredible because of the excitement and the appeal towards an industry that is incredibly good for your body, for your mind, for your soul. So how wonderful the amount of people that are currently practicing yoga, being drawn to yoga. So if you're a yoga instructor or thinking of becoming a yoga instructor, you start out with your training, your 200 hours, as we say. And once you accomplish those 200 hours, what do you do? What do you do with them? And if you've accomplished them and you've been teaching a while, how do you differentiate yourself with, I believe I read an article recently, there's more instructors than there are students. So the 5 key things that Steve and Melody and I were talking about. First, the simple but profound idea comes from Megan Bello, who is a Yoga Works instructor in Orange County, and she was kind to sit down with me before I ever even started a training. I went and talked with her because I read an article that she was the most sought after yogi in Southern California, and I just said, beyond being incredible, when I took her class, she'd studied under every name in yoga and been to India and all of those things. She said, Jen, she said, go find someone that you admire. So go take classes, go to different studios, and when you're in there, find an instructor that really appeals to you, that you respect their practice and you like their approach. Figure out what training program they're doing, go take their program. So almost in a mentor type way, and then make it your own. And then she said, once you obtain your 200 hours, go teach. Go teach anywhere. And I thought, well, no, I have to be hired at the best studio in town, or I have to create my own studio. She said, no, leave your ego at the door. Just go teach. And she said, if you do have the intention of creating a studio, be respectful. Don't go teach somewhere and create a studio down the street. Go teach, 30 miles away. Go teach at a gym, which they typically don't have structured yoga programs. Just go teach. Just feel it out, practice, find your way of teaching. And so that was truly the best advice I had received of everyone I talked with. So I think coming from a business background, 10 years in global advertising before I pretty much broke these for about a year, wrist, and yoga was a godsend. It really helped me to learn to calm my mind and to heal my wrist and maintain the healing in my wrist. And all the while I got in the best shape of my life as a side effect. So, I took a business approach and went and met with all of these people and studios, and of all of them I met, I think Megan really was the best advice there. So once you have that training, so once you have your 200, then what do you do? No matter what, mandatory, no excuses. Register with Yoga Alliance and obtain liability insurance. Absolutely no excuses. You have to have liability insurance. So listen to no one else but me. And the reason why I mentioned Yoga Alliance is because they obtain the rights to the RYT, which you usually see after, numbers, which is a registered yoga teacher. So it's a registration, and the member perks to that are things like discounted liability insurance. So it might be $100 a year, and it's well worth it. So get the blocking and tackling done. And if you've been teaching for years and you haven't ventured into that world, now's a perfect time to do that. And then next, imperatively, build your own personal brand, which is so important. So across all platforms, all channels, as you create from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook, whatever social media platforms you're on, perhaps it's blogging, a website, create a consistent brand. So for example, with myself, it's Jennifer Glass and on Instagram, and sometimes those handles are taken, so you have to get creative and say Jennifer Glass Yoga. But think about how you can have the most consistent name across platforms, and also, what your brand stands for. So if you're all things to all people, what kind of yoga you teach? I can do everything. I can do yoga for golfers and all levels, flow and restorative. If you're all things to all people, then you're nothing. So choose what your niche is. What's your sweet spot? What are you best at? Like, sure, you might be great at teaching all level flows and intermediate, which is wonderful, and you can share that, but is there something that you just love and you're so passionate about? You absolutely love teaching kids yoga and it just warms your heart and you have a background in that, then speak to that. Really create your own personal branding and create a consistent visual image that is a part of your brand. So across all platforms, your students, your customers, your clients, they all know they found you. So perhaps it's just a headshot and you have the same one on Instagram, on your website that you're sending to the media, or maybe you use one of the many tools out there for you and you create a logo. So oftentimes now, everyone's creating things on their own, of course, and there's no reason to invest the amount of dollars that you might in expensive design that's incredible, but you can use things like my love Canva, so canva.com. I came across, and it's design software but for the non-designer. So with a marketing master's, I have the ideas but cannot bring it to life. You don't want to see my stick figures. So if you go to Canva, they have templates and they help you to create everything from Facebook headers to blog images or marketing materials or flyers, and use that. Create your logo, create a consistent layout, look and feel that you can place across all of the platforms that you're on, and each platform has a different purpose. So I think that you can only truly be effective in 3 platforms. So rather than trying to have a presence on everything out there, really choose what makes the most sense to you. So with yoga, I do believe Instagram is the place to be, and I think it's imperative you have an Instagram page and that you're engaging in that conversation, because the conversation's happening with or without you, so jump in and swim and play. And say that in addition to Instagram, you have, Twitter and Facebook, or maybe just one other. If you're gonna focus on one rather than you're on Instagram and you just copy over the same thing to a Facebook or a Twitter, because the audiences are different. So think about if you're posting on Instagram and the same thing is going through to Facebook. So likelihood is that your users and your followers are going to unfollow you on one of the platforms because they've already seen what you've posted on Instagram, so they don't need to see what you're posting on Facebook too. And there's different objectives for each platform. For example, Instagram is all about inspiration. So short snippets of inspiration. And your photos, whether they're professional or not, make them look and appear and feel professional. So if you're in your living room, move everything out of the background, just you and a plain wall. Have the focus be on you and what you're doing, and share your true authentic self in the comment section. Once you get those little dots, no one reads below the dots, so get the important stuff up front. And then on Facebook, it's about inspiration, but it's also about additional information. So that's a challenge. It's really a challenge, but you have to think about what inspires people. So maybe it's the same topic as Instagram, a slightly different photo, But what additional information can you provide? Maybe you have a blog, so can you add a little insight into that blog and then click them through to that blog? Whereas in Instagram, you can't click out, so there's no need to add the blog, and they just want to stay in that space. And really think about your content strategy across all platforms. And I know it seems overwhelming, and how do you have time for all of this kind of stuff? So there are, again, so many services and platforms out there, and it's hard to know what's the best. You can read every blog about what's the best, and I can tell you my favorite across the board is Buffer. So there are so many different platforms. I've tried them all. So being in global advertising, I signed up for every account, every platform, tried them all, so I could truly tell my clients, whether I was working on a Wendy's or a Colgate or a small startup company, that I've tried them all. I personally believe these are the best for your business and why. So I think Buffer is fantastic because it's very simple to log into one space and add into the one space your upcoming post, maybe for the week. So maybe Sunday you sit down and you say, here's what I want to share. I want to share, these days of the week, these topics, and you add your photos. And the beautiful thing about something like a Buffer, a like-minded platform, is that they suggest to you the most optimal time. And that's key, because if you're gonna post and no one really sees it, then don't waste your time. So you have to post at the most optimal time, so the majority of your followers see this, you gain the most impressions. So with Buffer, you can schedule ahead, it automatically publishes. You can weigh on their guidance for the most optimal time. There's other tools that I love as well, like Union Metrics, which at the end of each month, you can run a free report, and it provides you with, for example, on Instagram, the hashtags that resonated the most amongst your followers, the best time each day, the most optimal time, and your 3 biggest engagers. So the ones that engage with you most, which could be creepy or pretty cool. I think that's interesting, just to pull that report, and then also have something like a Buffer you can optimize or see that they both match up and verify that everything is on track. And a big thing as well, I was talking with Steve Howe of Yoga Lifestyles, and his background is in advertising too, which is interesting to me to have that like-minded conversation. And he has a lot more expertise on the side of database and analytics, and really optimizing that return on investment, the time you're investing in something, as well as continuing that CRM, so that customer relationship marketing. And he was talking about building a list, which was a good reminder for me, which is a really good reminder. Take every opportunity to capture information. So maybe rather than opt in, have it be opt out. Capture the email address, the phone number, the address of your brand advocates, those that are coming to your classes, that love your classes, the way you teach, and continue to grow this database. So you have this group of people that already love you, and you are able to message to them when you have upcoming classes or you have events. Also, when you're with your students or at an event, make it easy for them to continue the conversation with you or to provide feedback. Everyone loves to share about what they love. Like, I'm just talking about, Buffer and Canva, which I have zero relation to, but it makes my life easy. So, they're coming to your classes, they love your classes, they want to share with their friends that they love, you. And once they leave the class, they forget and go on into life. So, have this consistent visual image, full circle back to your brand, this consistent content. And within that, produce a business card. Maybe it's a free business card from Vistaprint, who they put their information on the back and it's completely free for you. So many options like that. And you put on there, your website, your social media handles, and an overt call to action. So whether it's your flyers, business card, website, have a consistent visual image, a consistent call to action across every touch point, and have that call to action be whatever your objective is. Maybe it's a review me. Review me on my Facebook page. Review me on Yelp. Review me on my website. Wherever you're driving your customer base, give them the tools right then and there and say, hey, if you liked my class, review me. Review me on this app. And then you start to gain those testimonials, you gain those reviews, and it's so simple, and it's right there. So why not take advantage of the opportunity? Left arm reaches up to the sky.
In summary, the 5 key things to differentiate yourself as a yoga instructor. 1, find a mentor. 2, get the basic blocking and tackling done. 3, establish your own personal brand. 4, craft your own marketing plan. And 5, include a call to action. And the best thing of all is to be yourself, because there is no one else out there in the world that is just like you.